we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Power Nap Podcast. I'm Nick Puga. With me, as always, Andre Gordon with Gordon Greatness, and we have a special guest today. Andre, can you please do the honors of introducing this fine young man that we have here?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the red corner, out of parts unknown, weighing in at 100 pounds, he is the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the World, the Hoopty, Alan Hooper.
It's funny you pronounce it that way, because I always thought I was a smart aleck as a kid, and I'd call some girl's house, and the dad would answer and go, "Who's calling?" I go, "Alan." They'd go, "Alan who?" And I went, "No, sir, Alan Hooper." Click.
Man, it's great to have you here. Just so everyone knows, we have never done a live simulcast on Facebook, and getting ready to send this up to Apple Podcasts, I've been corrected, and Spotify. But this is our first, and Hoopty, you're with us. We were just talking, Nick, and for everyone who's listening out there, we were just talking about
we should give a little intro on Alan, a little background on Alan for those who don't
about
know.
to.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
I was just a boot to do that. So we were just talking about some of our favorite shows of all time, and as we're bringing some of them up, one of them was Modern Family. Now, Alan, for those of you who may not know, Alan is a longtime friend of ours, and he works in casting. And my first project that I worked with Alan on was a quality film called Gotta Make Them Angels with Jason Kennedy.
I remember that one.
Top notch.
Yeah, we killed 12 people in 24 minutes, one of them twice.
Yes, that was my first fun scene. And now Alan has moved on to bigger and better things. Alan, do you want to tell everyone a little bit what you do and what show? I know I mentioned Modern Family, but tell us in your own words what you do, if you were going to describe it.
Please educate.
I'm a casting associate, and occasionally a casting director. So the difference between those would be the casting director is kind of the creative vision of the casting department, and then the casting associate helps with the creative vision, but also if there's no casting assistant, the associate gets to do all the office work, the paperwork, scheduling the appointments. So the assistant job is clerical, the casting director's job is creative, and the associate is, somewhere in between.
Okay.
But, I've worked on Modern Family. I was very fortunate to work on it from the pilot all the way to the finale. So it was an amazing 11-year run. And I've worked on other stuff as well that people have heard about, like According to Jim or Ugly Betty. Yeah. But I'm going to be known for Modern Family unless there's some miracle in my future. And I'm okay with that. It's a good thing to be known for. And so as a casting associate, for those that just don't know casting or acting or that part of Hollywood, is we're basically just a headhunter. We're in the real world, when you've got headhunters trying to find somebody to fill a job position, we're doing the same thing. It's just with actors. It's kind of that simple, but complicated at the same time.
I think you're actually going to be known for episode 22 of the Power Nap Podcast.
Oh, that is possible. Be like, whatever happened to Alan Hooper? He did that podcast and was never heard from again.
Where are they now? Behind the music. So
I think what we were talking about should actually be something we could bring up for everyone. And I want people to hear, Nick, what your thoughts are and what Alan's thoughts are. We were talking about, and we'd love for you to comment here in the comment box, and we probably won't see it till later, but comment on your favorite shows of all time. Nick, can you start us off and tell us some of your favorite work that you've seen on TV shows?
TV shows. So what I was discussing earlier is that it really depends on the age. So there were different eras in my life, and of course, I have to include Pee-wee's Playhouse into the mix. But as I then got older and started seeing other sitcoms, I would say Taxi's in my top three.
Taxi.
There were, I mean, there's so many great shows. You talk about Growing Pains.
Show me that smile. Ooh, show me.
Tim Allen, I thought what he did was really great. I still grunt like Tim Allen to this day. That was a lot of comedy because that's a lot what's going on now in my current life. So
Grunting?
Grunting and like thinking that I can do everything around the house, like I can make it better and I can do it on my own. I don't need to hire a professional, especially with YouTube. I could just look it up and do it myself. It's that's basically what's going on.
Sure.
How about you guys?
Well, no, I would agree with Taxi because I watched those repeatedly. There's ones I can quote. There's just classic episodes of it that are it's just genius. And it's one of the reasons I actually started watching Cheers, because it was the same producers. And, but I've got just favorite shows that change. They don't change, but I mean, they go off the air and then I get a new favorite show. And I'm always got something that seems to be the favorite at the moment. But the classic ones, the ones that I own the DVDs of, let's put it that way, are like Lost, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've got Max Headroom on DVD.
Oh, wow.
I got season 1 of Wise Guy. Wise Guy was a pretty good show, kind of ahead of its time. I've got a Dennis Leary show called The Job, which was basically a half-hour single cam cop comedy before he did Rescue Me.
Yeah.
So I got all sorts of the current one, and I got 2 episodes left, and I kind of don't want to watch them. I want to be able to know that I have them to watch at some point.
I do that too.
That's how good this show is. The English title is Money Heist, and it's on Netflix. It's a show out of Spain, and it is one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
Ooh, I'm writing it down. Money Heist.
Yeah, and it's. I think each season's been 8 episodes. It did like a 2-part. Part 1's 8 episodes, part 2's 8 episodes, and it's kind of the first season. It's the first story, and it should have ended there, but they figured out a way to do a new season. It's a bank robbery. It's a bank robbery told over 16 episodes, and then they do another bank robbery. But what it all comes down to is the characters. And the characters are, I think, always informed by the actors. And if the actors are people that I like or I can watch, I'll forgive some other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's usually where my favorites are. What are yours, Andre?
You know what? So I like what you guys said, but it depends on the era. If I'm going old school, I'll call it golden age, classic. I really liked Different Strokes. Loved Different Strokes. I really liked Punky Brewster. I liked Alf. I loved Alf. I had an Alf doll. If anyone knows or has watched Alf, drop a little thumb up in the comment.
Every time I turn around. Oh, Punky Brewster.
Punky.
Yeah, I had a mad crush on Punky. If you're listening, Punky, do not reach out because I'm married with kids.
There's a channel in Los Angeles. It's on one of like the digital broadcast channels that we get over the antenna called Cozy TV. COZI. And I don't know if it's syndicated or if it's just something we have locally, but they run all the old shows. Like my wife likes to watch Emergency and Little House on the Prairie.
Little House.
And we end up watching the Dick Van Dyke Show. And what was insane is we saw an episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and it was just what my wife and I had currently been arguing about. That the two of them the whole episode was the same argument, and it was her opening his mail. And when we first got married, my mail would come in and my wife would open it and be like, "What are you doing? That's a federal crime. How dare you?" But that's what's the really good shows, are still relevant today. And that's what's insane, that, something that aired over 50 years ago, couples are still arguing about.
It's true. That's a good call, Dick Van Dyke Show. If I'm going out of that era and into that next little segment era, I did stuff that I watched with my dad. We watched A-Team. We watched, yes. Oh, come on, right? A-Team was just choice. Airwolf with Jan Michael Vincent and Ernest Borgnine. And the other one we watched wrestling. WF and WCW.
Your dad watched wrestling with you?
My dad taped all of the wrestling shows.
Wow.
And we would watch them together. We would do some matches. Like, I watch wrestling because of my dad.
What? My father thought he kept on telling me that it was fake and it was,
shame.
He was, and you know what I would take? I'm like, how can it be fake? It says live right there on the corner. That was my argument. It's not fake. It's live. It's happening right now.
Someone told me that recently. Like, oh, it's fake. I'm like, oh yeah? Well, your TV show is not real either. That's fake.
It's true.
But you're entertained.
That's right.
But I like Lost. Breaking Bad for me, top. And my brothers are trying to get me into Ozarks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ozark's good. See, there's also, I go back and I remember, this will date how old I am, but so does the white in my beard. I think it was CBS Monday nights. There was like WKRP in Cincinnati was on.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
And I think MASH was on at 9. And
that was a great one.
I think the Jeffersons was on Sunday nights when I was a kid.
I watched the Jeffersons with my dad sometimes too.
Love that.
I want to give a quick shout out to Johan, who's listening to us live. He says, "What's up? What's up, Johan? If you have a favorite show, Johan, go ahead and type it. What was your favorite show growing up?" Go ahead, Alan. Sorry.
Yeah, but Andre, you were talking about the A-Team. And I always mispronounce the guy's name for whatever reason, but Stephen J. Channel, who created the A-Team. Canal. See, I can't do it. But anything he created, I would check out. And there was a show called Riptide. Where it was the A-Team with the helicopter. And and then there was one called Stingray, where the guy drove around a Corvette Stingray. And then I think he also worked on this show called Rousters, which was a group of carnies. And that's when I moved out to Los Angeles and I got into casting. I realized my entire childhood was devoted to knowing stuff nobody else would know. Because I'll see, there's actor Christopher Rich, who was Reba's husband on her WB series.
Oh, yeah?
And I knew him, not because I was trying to do casting, but it's because I was watching shows. He did this like 6-episode series for ABC called The Charmings, and he was Prince Charming with Snow White. And what had happened?
I remember this.
You remember this? Yeah. So the premise was the wicked stepmother or queen or whatever had put them all asleep, and they'd woken up in 1990s America. And what I remember most about, what sticks in my head more than anything, is one day one of the kids comes in and goes up to Snow White and goes, Mommy, Daddy was cursing in the garage. Like, what did he say? And the kid whispers something in her ear, and she turns to the neighbor and goes, oh my, he said the F word, fiddlesticks.
Sounds like my type of F word.
Yeah. So that's why I say fiddlesticks these days.
Well, when I wake up in the morning.
Johan in here has said Saved by the Bell, which is a very good call.
That's what I was just singing.
Are you looking at it too? Are you watching?
I sure am, Johan.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell is a great call. For me, that was the first series that I watched when I'm like, this doesn't look like it's done very well, but I keep watching. Like, it looked like live theater, but like, I don't understand. I'm like, and these guys aren't in high school. These guys are older. But the mom jeans on Kelly. Oh, AC Slater. Funny story about AC Slater. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she is 9.5, she'll say. And on the day she was born, I'm in this, like, down in Burbank. It's a small hospital, but it's a really nice, really good hospital. But I get in the elevator. AC Slater's in the elevator with me. And look, and he's like, and we're talking about the fact that our kids are about to be born. So AC Slater's daughter and my daughter have the same birthday.
Look at that. Small world.
Yep. So don't call me AC Slater. I have a wife and kids.
That was a really fun show. That was something, another one of the, I think when Pee-wee's Playhouse got taken out.
How'd you feel about that, by the way? When you, as a kid, loving Pee-wee's Playhouse, it gets canceled, it's done. Did you understand the whole idea of getting canceled, or like be like, wait, where are they?
I was at the age that it was, maybe it was even, I was getting too old to watch it, but I still was like a diehard fan, so I was still gonna watch it. I mean, I'd watch it right now. Isn't it on Netflix or something? Can't we? Like I've shown some shows to my kids.
Lawrence Fishburne was on there, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, and Phil Hartman, the late Phil Hartman was the captain.
I actually have a Paul Rubens story.
Oh, hit us.
We were at Universal waiting to do a network test for a sitcom pilot we were working on. And I remember it was Leslie Grossman, who a lot of people know currently. She's on American Horror Story. We're standing there. She's going to go in and test. And it's me and her and Jeff Greenberg, the casting director for the pilot. And I think it was Christian Borle, who was already cast as the lead. And Leslie was coming in to chemistry read with Christian. Four of us are standing there just, being polite. And all of a sudden, this guy quietly comes up and goes, "Oh, hi, Jeff." And we turn and look, and it's Paul Rubens. And Leslie and I just looked at each other, and like our eyes went like saucers. And Jeff just starts talking to Paul Rubens, like I guess they knew each other somehow. I couldn't even tell you what they said. I was losing my mind so much. And Leslie and I kind of stepped away, and we got inside the building. The minute the door closed, we were like, oh my God, that was Pee Wee Herman. And we lost our minds. And she might have asked him for an autograph or a photo. I think she might have, but I just remember the two of us just lost it. It was insane.
Nick and I were talking about, he dressed up as Pee Wee Herman one year for Halloween. And
several years.
Every year. But didn't you post one and tag him? And then something happened where he responded?
Yeah. Well, I actually had met him finally in person when he did remember he was doing the live shows to kind of bring back some, he made the movie with Judd Apatow, and he was trying to get, bring back, Pee-wee at the Club Nokia. They had maybe a 2-week run of a live show. And I went to that, and I paid extra to do the Q&A with him. And he actually signed my Pee-wee's Big Adventure movie poster, which was very surreal. But yeah, I actually was playing, because was it Josh Brolin played Pee-wee in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Remember, like at the end, he was the movie star with the beard, but he still had the red tie. So I had a beard, so I was like, I ran the Josh Brolin style of it. And I think he commented on it. I don't remember what happened, but we didn't really connect. But
we freaked out though.
I freaked out. I was like, score. I am cool.
And guess what, guys? We're going to start a campaign. When we post this, everyone please tag him, and we'll have him on the show. Tag Paul Rubens. He'll jump on, I'm sure.
Right? He's still trying to make his like adult version of the Pee Wee Herman story, which I really hope he gets to do. I don't understand why and he was actually doing a tour. He was actually. I was thinking about going to see him in Tampa, not too far away from here, but then I guess the coronavirus kind of took over, and he.
What's that?
So there's this. People are getting sick, and there's a virus, and it's not good, and we need to wear masks. And we need
It's
to,
not good.
Andre, too soon.
too
It's
soon.
not good.
Too soon.
I've been inside. Like, you know what's been the most interesting thing about being in like locked in? I've actually, really figured out my family's pretty cool. I always like my family. I've loved them. But when you're forced to be locked in with your kids, the cool thing that you figure out is how loud 3 kids can be at once. It's the decibel level is it's extraordinary. I've never heard anything that loud in my life. So I've just realized that.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I
'cause
know
when
what you mean. I have the same experience just with my neighbor's kids.
Hey, look at that. Jana Land's on, Jason Lansing, Fernanda. We have some people joining us watching. Guys, comment your favorite TV shows so we can chat about it.
When you're a kid and I don't think I really understood why do old people lose their hearing? Why is it? Now I know. Now it's very
purposeful.
clear. It's so. And I actually was just went to Miami to my mom's house, and the silence is ooh, I can't even explain it. It's like I went to some spa and I paid a bunch of money and I just got the works of just silence.
Quiet.
Truly is golden. Remember they used to say that in the movie theater, silence is golden?
Yeah, and my kids do ask me, Daddy, why are you in the bathroom all the time? I'm hiding.
Who's Mr. Hooper?
Dude, you don't know about the hoopty? Jason, the hoopty is we just learned a lot about the hoopty. Alan Hooper is a casting associate on a great show, had a long run on Modern Family, and which, by the way, Alan, was one of the highlights of my career thus far. Just being on the show in the building with that cast, it was awesome.
See,
so thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And that's what was one of the highlights for me as part of the show, was there are so many actors like you that was their reaction. It wasn't a paycheck.
No,
we still paid you okay, but
you did.
That it was just fun, and it was that's what was so good about the show, is it was extremely well done. People actually watched it, and everybody on the show was nice to work with.
They were great to work with. You work on some shows, especially when you come in as a guest star or you're coming for the day or the week, and you're not a part of the group, so you feel like an outsider. I felt like everyone was so nice and so engaging and so just fun to work with. It was great. And my big highlight I would say was directing Morgan Freeman. My second one was working on Modern Family. It's right up there. So
cool. Well,
yeah,
it's stiff competition. So if we beat Morgan Freeman, I would say there's something wrong with your radar. But
so
nice to be mentioned in the same breath with him.
Yeah, you for sure are.
Yeah.
So Janelyn's saying that growing up Fresh Prince, and she also liked Friends.
Ooh, Fresh Prince is a really good call. A really good call. I love Fresh Prince. Friends. Nick, did you watch Friends?
That's an interesting thing. There was such a hype around it, and I've seen them. I like them, but I can't tell you that I've seen every single episode, like 90% of the population. I haven't seen them all, which I did like them. There were great shows, but I didn't see every single one. I like Seinfeld. I've probably seen more Seinfeld episodes. Did you like Seinfeld? Yeah.
Who are you asking, me or are you asking the hoopty?
I'm asking you first.
Okay.
Because of that face. Right. That's why, that face that you made.
Okay, so listen. Seinfeld, great show. Great actors and
here we
comedians. Go. I personally did not gravitate. I didn't love it. I didn't. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta watch Seinfeld. Oh, like you love Seinfeld. Sometimes you sound like Seinfeld. If I had to choose between watching Seinfeld for the rest of my life and watching Punky Brewster for the rest of my life, or Different Strokes, I would probably choose Different Strokes.
I'm glad you said that. I'd have judged you if you said Punky Brewster.
Johan did not like Seinfeld. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I don't know.
Andre, this is the catchphrase. When there's something I don't like, but I don't want to admit it because everybody else likes it, I go, it wasn't my cup of tea. That's what I go. Grey's Anatomy. It's not my cup of tea.
Not mine either.
Yeah, but it's been on. It's, longest running medical drama in the history of TV. I don't watch SVU, but it's the longest running TV drama of all time.
True. I don't even understand that. Hey,
you brought up earlier, Nick, about like watching terrible things, like scary things before going to sleep. My wife and I used to watch the Special Victims Unit early on in our marriage, and then go to bed.
And then I would call you out on. I'm like, what are you doing? Going to bed right after you watch this terrible, terrible stuff? Like, you think you're gonna have some nice dreams after that? It's a bad idea.
That's true.
Now, for those who are listening and who are watching us live, if there's we have a professional on here, Mr. Alan Hooper, who, so if you have any questions about how these shows get cast, what goes on in behind, here's your chance, guys. Here's your chance to ask away. And he's not. Are we going to charge them, or are we charging people?
No.
Too soon, Nick. Too soon. Wait, Janelin, I Love Lucy.
Oh,
hey.
Yeah.
That is a good call. I forgot all about that.
That is a good call. Mary Tyler Moore is another one we've been watching recently.
Now, let me ask you this, Alan. With these older shows and these newer shows and film, would you say you're definitely more of a TV lover than a film lover, or do you love film just as much as TV?
No, at this point, I love TV more than I love film.
Wow.
And what about you, Nick? And Alan, tell us why.
I think part of it is there's so much TV, and with TV you can get invested, because like I said, I like the characters. If the actors and the characters are solid and interesting to watch, then you can go watch them for 7 years, 8 years. Film's over in 2 hours, and you have to constantly be finding the good films somehow. And with the TV shows, this is what really irritates my wife. I will watch.
Unless you're Rocky Balboa.
Oh, true. That's true. Or Rambo, or Jason Voorhees. But I have a goal. I like to try to sample everything. And there were some things I was watching 30 seconds of and going, no, not watching this one. And my wife put in a rule. I have to watch at least 5 minutes before I can turn it off.
Okay.
And
5-minute rule.
Yeah. And so I will watch 5 minutes of something, and sometimes it'll hook me, and other times I'll be sitting there just waiting for the 5 minutes to be up. But because of Netflix and all the streaming stuff, I'm now not just watching the American shows, and I'm not just watching the British shows because of PBS. I got BBC America. There's this Acorn TV that I'm running through.
Oh, yeah.
British shows there. They also have some Australian shows. Sundance Now has a mix of British and Australian shows. And also I've gone into the foreign language TV shows, and I've loved some of those. There was Money Heist that I mentioned earlier from Spain. There's one called 3% from Brazil, which is some great
Brazil
fiction.
And your wife was on too, by the way. Nick.
Yeah. I watched some French shows. There's one called
What's 3% about?
3% is it's a futuristic thing where they've run out of resources, and so it's kind of like the Hunger Games, I would guess. I haven't seen Hunger Games, but every year everybody's a certain age, they go through the trials, and 3% of them will win and get to go to the offshore. And the offshore is paradise, where they're all living in squalor. And so the first season is all about the group you meet that end up going through the trials and how that works out. Second season is them at the offshore, those that made it, and it's a little going back and forth. And then the third season is them trying to build a third society that's out in the desert, that's not, you know, the city or the offshore. But it's pretty good. It's some good science fiction, and it's good like societal commentary as well at times.
3%. You know, I like that. It's kind of like the Hunger Games. You know what? Some of the people are saying, I like movies with a good ending and not having to watch it for 5 years. Okay.
It's like that sketch on SNL that goes a little too long. You know what I mean?
How come no one's talking about the show behind me? What do you guys think of this show?
I
The
liked
Office?
it.
The Office.
But I didn't see them all. See, I didn't see them all, but I enjoyed it.
I would say for me, it became kind of required viewing because everybody was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it, and it did take me a few episodes to get invested in the characters enough to enjoy the show. And then I will say, when Steve Carell left, it was not the same.
No, agreed.
And I know exactly the moment I stopped watching The Office. And I shouldn't. Oh man, now that I've said it, I got to say it out loud. You know,
say it.
There's a scene where Jim and Pam go to like the preschool. They're like checking out preschools before the baby arrives or something. And the guy that's telling them what's going on, he ends up excusing himself to the restroom, and he's there, and the door slowly opens, and you see him, and they're there, and it's extremely awkward. And I don't know why, bathroom humor is not my humor. It hadn't been since I was 5.
Yeah.
And that was the moment where I was like, no, I think I'll just enjoy the reruns of
of those Steve Carell days.
Oh my gosh. Johan, yes, I have not seen Game of Thrones either.
Neither have I.
What?
I haven't seen Game of Thrones either.
And it's so funny that Alan was talking about required like viewing. That is definitely like a required viewing, and I have not seen it. Look at that, Johan. We're in sync, buddy. You haven't seen The Office either? Like neither one, the UK version or the American version? Money Heist.
Now, which one's better though?
Hey, he likes Money Heist.
I don't know. That's because I tried watching the UK version and I didn't get into it, but I might have to revisit it now that I've watched all the other Ricky Gervais shows.
Okay, now question, guys. Have you guys watched Breaking Bad?
Yes,
and has anyone out there watched Breaking Bad?
I was watching Breaking Bad before Breaking Bad was cool.
Johan, Breaking Bad to me is some of the best television that I have seen ever. The character development and arc of all of those guys on the show, the story arc and development, the payoff, like it was just amazing to me.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree or disagree?
No, I would agree, and it's kind of what you were talking about with SVU, where you don't want to watch an intense show before you go to bed. But with Breaking Bad, my wife was not a fan, and so I would have to wait till she went to bed, and then I would watch it after her. And I would be just so amped up on adrenaline from watching some of those shows. I'm like, I can't go to sleep now. Oh, I should have watched this at like 2 p.m.
Nick, do you have to watch anything that Fernanda likes that you don't like?
She'll watch The Bachelor. I can't do it. I go in there and I laugh and I make fun of the whole thing. It's just like, it's so silly. And I mean, but hey, it entertains her.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I've never even seen it.
No, I was going to say, my wife and I, there's some shows we watch, but the one show we can both just truly agree on is, believe it or not, is Family Feud with Steve Harvey.
Oh my goodness. I've been watching those and sending Nick clips. They're so funny.
And I think out here they're running like 2, maybe 4 a night, and we just sit there and watch them all while we're having dinner or just doing nothing else.
Hilarious. Family Feud with Steve Harvey cracks me up. He's really funny.
Yeah. Well, and we keep saying if we had 3 more members of our family, we'd be on the show.
Well, you know what I have to watch? Not have to. What I enjoy watching with my wife. She loves Friday Night Lights.
Oh,
It is a really good one. It's a really good one. This is our third time watching the series.
Oh wow.
A full series? You're gonna watch the full?
It's only
Full
5 years.
series.
It's fine.
See, I just don't understand how people have all this time to watch. See, I didn't even see every episode of Breaking Bad. Okay, I'm sorry, it just didn't happen for me, and
Oh boy.
I don't. And it feels like a daunting like homework assignment, and I'm
Well,
not watching it.
The
I don't
first thing
know. Maybe I will, but I haven't. And my name is Nick, and I have not seen the
Nick,
every episode of.
I got a question for you. Do you have a life?
I think I do. I have a life, and I have a lot of responsibilities, and
Okay.
one of them is not watching every episode of Breaking Bad. I'm sorry.
That'll get in the way. I have to say, I sometimes use my job as an excuse to sit in front of the TV for hours. My wife's like,
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I make a good point of watching at least 1 to 3 episodes of at least every show, but I don't know. I don't necessarily get hooked like everybody gets hooked, and just like I have to see this all the way through.
Well, I would say
I watch a lot of
what'd you say?
stand-up comedians. That's what I like doing more than anything on Netflix.
Fernanda said you guys watch them together.
Oh, there it is.
She said.
Yeah. Yeah, we do watch stand-up comics. That's what I like seeing, discovering some new people and stuff. But I don't know. Shows, definitely if they're dark shows, none of us are really interested.
Yeah. Which stand-up comic that has not had a series would you like to see have a series?
Well, I know Sebastian Maniscalco did have a pilot, but it didn't get picked up. But he actually just recently posted like a little clip of it. I thought it was pretty good, and I thought it would do well. I don't know why some of these don't get, who knows how these things don't get picked up, but
I don't know either. I do not know either.
And he's pretty hot right now, I feel.
Yeah.
And I think he recently hosted like MTV Award. I don't watch that stuff either, but I heard that he did. So I'm good for him. I thought his stand-up, like that, both of us, we will have to stop and have our laugh. And we usually watch where the kids are already sleeping and we're like in our bedroom just watching it. And then we are laughing so hard. Like we might wake up the kids with some of the stuff that he's done. So I'm a big fan.
Well, let me ask you guys this. We talked about with the wives, and what you said earlier about the Carol Burnett show and the mail is super funny. What would you guys say? We're all married here, okay? What would you guys say is, in your opinion, the best thing about being married, and what has been the most surprising thing that you've enjoyed about being married that you didn't think of?
Oh man. Huh. See, I'll stall for a minute, Nick, so you can think of an answer, but I'm not going to have an answer. I'm just going to stall. I always go with the joke. I feel so lucky to be married to who I'm married to that I try not to analyze it or look into it too much for fear that I'll figure out, how it's going to, that I was lucky or somebody like, you did look into this and there was a mistake. This was not supposed to happen. We're going to have to negate this. It's kind of like the David Letterman syndrome, where he said his whole career he kept expecting somebody to tap him on the shoulder and go, "I'm sorry, sir, there's been a mistake." And send him back to Indiana. I got that feeling sometimes. I'm like, I'm just so lucky. I don't know how she, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And I don't want to look I can't say that. Because I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, which is a figure of speech.
Mr. Ed, good show.
Yeah. So Nick, now it's your turn to answer.
Wow, you really scored some points with Mrs. Hooper tonight.
Mrs. Cameron, she's gonna send you some hate mail.
Oh, what's Mrs. Cameron?
Yeah.
What's the question again?
What is your favorite thing about being married? And then the follow-up is, the piggyback is, what is your favorite thing about being married that you didn't even expect?
This is a hard question. There's so many different answers to this. I would say, I guess looking at the other side, I've seen a lot of the other side and the struggle of, and even myself, I look back when I was really younger and doing, and the stuff that I did and going out and the whole pursuit. And I guess there's just this great comfort in knowing that you got somebody, at least in my experience, that we're constantly comfortably pushing each other, challenging each other, where it's not about, it's not really argumentative, but we don't typically fight. If we fight, it's about silly things. It's about, so I like the fact that both of us are growth mindset. So we're always looking to get better, and we're okay, even if, you know, we test our egos a little bit, and we're okay with it, and we actually become better for it. So I think that, what's different that I didn't expect, I mean, I don't think anybody expected, you know, or could predict what happens when you have kids. So it's a completely different relationship after kids, and the expectation levels that one has of the other person and so forth. But it's been good. I think we're doing a great job. And I love my wife so much. She is everything to me. That, I mean, I can't put it into words. This is too much, especially live on Facebook. I mean, come on. What are you guys doing? What kind of a question? Why don't you answer, Dre?
I will answer it. And I think actually live on Facebook is probably the best place to answer it, because you can proclaim your love to the entire world and all your appreciation for everyone to see it without any hesitation or concern. I will tell you guys that my favorite thing about, first of all, this question was that I asked it, so I got to wait and think about it while the other two guys went. And now that they've gone and it's come back to me, I will tell you that my favorite thing about being married is, number one, my wife and I are the complete opposites. Complete. Like my whole personality, the way that I operate, my organizational skills or lack of, it's the complete we're the opposite. We complement each other so well. And she is, I would say, her temperament and just the way that she approaches things, she's really just calmed and slowed me down and just helped me become that better me. She's really great.
She completes you.
She completes me. And the thing that I didn't know that I would like about being married as much as I do like about it is that you alluded to it, Nick, is that when you're single, Nick and I, we went out a lot. We went to the we went to the library and read books. And no, we went out. We went to the club. We went and hung out, with our boys. We went to basketball. We were out all the time. Those red carpets we used to have to go to. I love now not going out. I love staying at home. I love my house, first of all. Thank you, Nick, for helping me get into as a great realtor. But I love just being at home with her. Like our thing at night is, after the day's done, we watch Friday Night Lights or a show, and then we go to sleep. Like just something to wind down. And then, even if I'm working on the computer, which normally I am, we're just sitting there together. So not having to go out, not having to party with, not having to go look and convince people like, oh, look how great let's hang out. I'm so great. It's like, no, I have what's great. And it's here. Tomorrow's Father's Day, and I was thinking of appreciation of her because, I couldn't be a dad without her. I mean, I guess I could, but that wouldn't be good. So that's it. Yes, Johan says me too.
Yeah.
Gerald is LOLing, Mr.
Well, you asked that question, Andre, and Nick and I's eyes just went wide as saucers. Like, what did he just do to us? Man, not cool.
But
totally
you know what you both did?
Cool.
You
Totally
both,
inappropriate question asking, if you ask
you
me.
guys scored some major points.
We'll see.
You guys really did.
We'll see.
My cell phone did not ring, so I'm doing okay. My wife's out shopping, but if she saw this posted up on Facebook, she's probably watching me right now. So I'm just like, did she text? Oh no, she didn't text me either.
Alan, since you're our guest, how about you? Could you tell us your nightmare of the week before we go? Do you have a nightmare?
Oh yes, we do
What's your
nightmare and dream of the week.
Okay. This is my nightmare every time because I will do like let me see how I set this up. I'll go and do this. This will be my nightmare of the week, actually. And what I mean by that
Being
is
on this show.
talking in public, and then I'm free with you guys. I know you guys were friends, and we're just having a conversation. But when I realized later, I don't know who else was listening. I don't know what I said that might have been stupid or put my foot in my mouth.
Or offensive. You're so offensive.
We'll get auto-tuned later. And so that's typically it. It's when I go do like workshops where I'm like speaking to actors and trying to be a acting coach and help them, with their training, there's always like a 3 a.m. where I'll be like, oh, I said that one thing. It was supposed to be a joke. Did everybody realize it was a joke? Oh, why can't I shouldn't think, I'm not funny. Why do I think I'm funny?
We think alike. We think alike.
And you're talking about the stand-up comics. I don't know how they do it because so many people will get offended by something they say, and then they go back and find something they said, years ago that they said that I just couldn't. That takes a lot of courage to be going out there trying to make people laugh, and know that there's a few people out there that are just going to come for you just because you're trying to make people laugh.
True.
That's crazy. That's my nightmare. Continual nightmare.
What about your dream of the week? Do you have a dream?
Huh. I don't know, because it's all my dream of the week. Oh, this is my dream of the week. So I'm reading Deadline.com, which is electronic trade version of like, Hollywood Reporter and Variety. And I see this headline says, ABC talking about fresh off the boat, Modern Family spinoffs. And I'm like, Modern Family spinoff? I've got a job again? This would be awesome. And of course I click on the article, and the fresh off the boat was something new that I didn't know about. And with Modern Family, they said, ABC said no comment. Back in March, in this story we'd already published. So I was like, rope-a-dope headline. It wasn't anything. So that would have been, my dream of the week. And then I turned it into I put on Twitter and Instagram what I thought the spinoff should be. And it's based around the characters that I and Jeff Greenberg had cameos as. And I'm like, let's build a show around us.
And the family that lived next door to them.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Especially now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course.
That family's hot right now.
Of course.
Guys, here's my nightmare of the week. First of all, give big what's up to Jason Baumgart and Heath McCall who are watching. We're just signing off here. But here's my nightmare of the week. I bought a Samsung Frame TV at the recommendation of my friend Nick Puga, who also bought his at the recommendation of our friend Jason Lansing, who's also watching. It's beautiful. Now, by the way, guys, I'm not handy at all. I can't build anything. My wife, she can get that giant box from IKEA, and with like gum and like grass can build. I don't know. She's a brilliant builder, and I just can't do it. So she built this giant wall unit. I just was like holding stuff, got the Samsung Frame TV on the wall. It's amazing. It turns into a painting when you're not watching it. They haven't paid me to say this, by the way. Not paid advertising. But now when I'm watching the Samsung Frame TV, every so often, randomly, it goes, dee-dum, dee-dum, dee-dum. Annoying, right? So I asked Nick, why does your Samsung Frame TV dee-dum, Nick has not responded to me about that question. I asked Jason Lansing, and Jason Lansing said no. So maybe it's just me.
Yeah, it is just you, because I've never heard that before in my life.
It's a nightmare.
Well, we'll YouTube it. We'll figure it out. That's the nightmare. So now
that's my dream.
I guess my nightmare. I did have a little nightmare. I guess it's not really, a nightmare for a lot of people. But I went out to a sunset and I was taking out my new drone, and for some reason, I was catching the sunset out there, and it was not cooperating, and I almost lost it. It almost went into the sea, and that was because there was something called, which I was not aware of prior, is called geofencing. So when you're in an area that is blocked off by airports or whatever, and you don't know about it, these particular drones do not come back. Like, you can go out, but then you can't come back. So I actually had to go in the water and then bring it down. So I could go down, but I just couldn't come back. I can go out, whatnot. So I went in the water and brought it down, and I had to catch it with my hand. But so it ended up being a dream after all, because I saved my drone.
Well, my dream of the week is I just stepped on the scale, and I have lost 17 and a half pounds. And I'm feeling good about myself.
How did you do it? How did you do this?
So I did a reset, which is like a 5-day detox. I have 3 meal replacement shakes, some fruit, some vegetables, and supplements, whatever. And then since then, I've done 6 days raw vegan, 1 day regular. 6 days on, 1 day off. 6 days on, 1 day off. And it's cool because I look forward to Saturdays, and I'm eating pretty healthy during the week. I'm not doing cardio, which I should, but I'm feeling great. So that's been my dream of the week.
Good.
Andre, I remember
Yes,
in your Universal days when your weight would fluctuate daily by a good 50 to 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's quite impressive.
Little known secret, guys. I played the Nutty Professor at Universal Studios, and I would wear a fat suit.
Can you do some do some of the voices for the people so that they really believe you?
Well, some of the Nutty Professor voices are, Sherman Clumpy would talk like this, and then he would smile, and then, oh, Hercules, 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 man trick. And I would do, the Eddie Murphy. I was Eddie Murphy's little, replacement guy. The live action Eddie Murphy.
We want to thank Alan Hooper for being our special guest star, our very first one, and being brave enough to actually participate in whatever it is that we have done on the interwebs today. So, Trey, without further ado, send them out.
Power Nappers, all of you guys watching around the world, I think there's 28 of you worldwide, wherever you may be, however you may be listening. We thank you. We love you, but we are